Habari, karibu tena kwenye somo la leo. Welcome back to today's lesson. So we're going to talk about greetings, which in Swahili is salamu. Salamu. So we're going to start with the very basic greetings that we do have. And as a prerequisite, you have to understand like starting your conversation without greetings is considered very impolite. So it's really considered polite if you say hi to your friend, or when you meet someone, you say hi to them and you do greet them. And usually in most Swahili speaking countries, when you're greeting someone, you give them your hand, of which in some cultures, probably some Western cultures, it may be considered impolite, not unless you know that person. However, in the Swahili speaking countries, considered polite. Maybe you greet them by virtue of hand. So let's just go direct and start learning about greetings. So the first most basic greeting is jambo. Jambo. Jambo means issue. The correct answer to jambo is jambo. If someone says jambo to you, you say jambo. But actually, jambo, rarely do native speakers use these jambo as greeting. So if you say jambo, it will be very clear that you are a foreigner or you are a visitor in that Swahili speaking country. So the next greeting that is basically used by everyone is habari. Habari. Habari means news. So you can say habari, or you can say habari gani. Habari or habari gani. What are the news? What are the news? And the correct answer to habari or habari gani is nzuri or njema. Habari, you can say nzuri or you can say njema. Likewise, habari gani, nzuri or njema. Okay, so we move to there's another structure of asking for news. So usually in English, we have the of structure. You can say habari ya, or maybe habari za. So we have this structure here, which you really have to note. So why ya and why za? So ya is in case like you asking about the news and you expect it to be the next part to be singular, or you're asking the news of the next part but it's in singular form. If it's in plural form, it's za. So let's look at the examples. One of the main words probably we need to learn before I move next is this. Asubuhi. Asubuhi means morning. Mchana means daytime. Jioni means evening. So you want to ask about the news of morning, or maybe the news of daytime, or the news of evening. Or probably you want to ask about the news of today, leo. So how will you go about that? So we go about it like this. Habari za asubuhi. So asubuhi I told you is morning. So I meet you in the morning, I ask you habari za asubuhi, and you realize it's time specific. Habari za asubuhi. What about if it's daytime? I'll ask you habari za mchana. Habari za mchana. What about if it's evening? Habari za jioni. And the most good part about it is that the answer to all these questions, if everything is good, you can use the answer nzuri or njema. The answer to all these greetings, habari za asubuhi, habari za mchana, and habari za jioni, is nzuri au njema. This is the answer to this, is this, and this. So it's nzuri or njema. Alternatively, somebody wants to know about what are the news today, like habari za leo. So we have this here. So I meet you and I ask you habari za leo, what are the news today? And again, the correct answer to this is nzuri or njema. So you realize we've learned two ways. So the first way is jambo, of which I really said no one uses that. So we are going to remove this from our list and we remain with this as one of the main ways which we're going to use for our greeting. So you can say habari, habari gani, or maybe if you want to be time specific or time of the day, habari za asubuhi, whereby asubuhi I said is morning, mchana, which is daytime, jioni, which is evening, or maybe habari za leo, like how things today, or maybe what are the news of the day, like the literal translation, what are the news of the day. And the correct answer to all these is nzuri. Nzuri or njema. Likewise for these, all three is nzuri or njema. Likewise for these is nzuri or njema. Okay, let me go back to the construction that I had earlier when asking the news of something. So we've learned about these times of the day. So let me remain with these constructions that I have here. Habari za. So you want to ask about the news of something specific. You want to be really very specific about what you're asking. So you can ask about safari. Safari is travel. Maybe you travel somewhere and you're back. You're back and then I ask you, habari ya safari. How was your trip? How was your trip? Or how was your travel? And then you tell me, nzuri au njema. It means your trip was very good or very nice. Okay, good. You also want to ask about maybe the two of your parents. And then you want to ask about the kids. Watoto. Watoto, these are kids. You want to ask about the kids. And then you'll ask, habari za watoto. Habari za watoto. And then to that, you'll answer nzuri or njema. Nzuri or njema. Likewise, you could ask about things at home, like how things at home, or what are the news from home. So you can say habari za nyumbani or habari ya nyumbani. However, I really recommend so much you use za most of the time because we're talking about the news of, like in plural form. We understand that news is always in plural form. However, in Swahili sometimes, for example, safari, because you're asking about one trip, that's why we use ya. But za, if there were many trips, then you say za. But I really prefer, really recommend, if you really don't understand exactly what's happening, it's way better to use za. Habari za nyumbani. So don't confuse nyumbani and nyumba. Nyumba is house. Nyumbani is home. So you're asking about the news about home. If you say habari za nyumba, it means you're asking about the news of the house, which shouldn't confuse you. So it's habari za nyumbani. Likewise, I could meet my friend after a long week, and then I'll ask him, habari za kazi. Habari za kazi. Kazi is work. Kazi is work. Habari za kazi. And then the correct answer again is nzuri au njema. Nzuri au njema. Good. Another way we could really ask using habari is habari za Canada. Let's say I meet my friend Craig. My friend Craig is from Canada and he's traveled to Kenya. And then I ask him like, what are the news in Canada? So I'll ask habari za Canada. Habari za Canada. And then Craig will tell me or will answer me nzuri au njema. Likewise, so Craig is back as well, back from Canada, and instead of asking habari za Canada, because it's been a very long time, I'll ask him habari za siku nyingi. Siku, these are days. Siku is day. Then nyingi, these are many. So what are the news of the many days? Like long time no see. That's like the literal translation. Long time no see. Habari za siku nyingi. And the correct answer again, once more, is nzuri au njema. Also, there's another way of saying it, of which, let's say you ask me like, let me take an example of this one here. So let's pay attention to this one. Habari za leo. You ask me about today. Just make it a bit here. I think everything's clear. You ask me, habari za leo. What are the news today? So I tell you, nzuri, I tell you nzuri. However, I'd like to know about you as well. I want to know, it's very polite, of course, to really know what about the other person. How is he or she doing? What are the news from his side? So the correct way to do that, in English we say, I'm good, and you? So how do you say and you in Swahili? So to say good and you in Swahili is nzuri na wewe, nzuri na wewe. So this one applies to all these greetings over here. We have habari, you'll say nzuri na wewe. Habari ya safari, nzuri na wewe. Habari za watoto, nzuri na wewe. So basically, that's it for this first part of greetings. So we're going to continue to the other part of greetings that we do have next. Just hold on a bit.